a little bit of legislative disappointment to offset the litigative victories for the firearms community in California as we see Assembly Bill 1078 working its way through the Senate Public Safety Committee. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel today. We're heading back to Sacramento as we saw Senate Public Safety Committee meeting on Tuesday of this week, which means we are dealing with more thieves and liars. We also did see testimony for Assembly Bill 1078, and to walk us through that, we have brought back Rick Travis, who is the Legislative Director for CRPA, working up there in Sacramento. You can also find him on AM 590 The Answer. That is Firing Line Radio every Saturday at 1 p.m. Rick, thanks for being on with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, once again, before we get into this, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the videos. Throw some comments down in the comment section. Let us know what you think about something like this, because at the end of the day, that sentiment is going to need to carry through to the next election cycle, as we just cannot have these people remain in office. The accountability is now on us, but more importantly, those the algorithms do push this out further and further the more we see of that. So please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. So Rick, I guess before we dive on into the Public Safety Committee meeting that we saw on Tuesday, can you just, for maybe those of us who have not been following along, can you give us a recap of what Assembly Bill 1078 is and what its path has been all the way from the Assembly now to the Senate Public Safety Committee?
Sure. So 1078 is a bill that has been put together, obviously, by multiple actors. It is a bill that has many of the anti-firearms groups behind it. It has the Attorney General, Rob Bonta, behind it. It has the Department of Justice behind it. And it is a mishmash of multiple things in it, which has made it really, really complex. And what they have done, Kevin, is encapsulated a bunch of things that they want to correct, from, a protective order system to going after people's CCWs, to tweaking the background check system to be more onerous, to try to place things on people that if you made a mistake and you checked the wrong box, or you didn't fill out your whole middle name, things that happen all the time because people are used to just using their initial, that would be a violation and would be kept on your record, that you were being dishonest. Well, no, you just forgot that you were supposed to write out your entire middle name. These are all things that are encapsulated under what is now known as the 1 in 3 bill, meaning that you would not be able to buy more than 3 firearms in a month, whereas it used to be they tried to do this called 1 firearm a month. And as you know, in the case NguyenVBonta, the courts said at the Ninth Circuit, yeah, you can't limit a constitutional right that way. You absolutely can't. And that's what brought us to Senate Public Safety a couple of days ago, and a lot of entertainment, which is why I'm sure you have me here.
Yeah, so you do have a lot of those warnings, and let's actually check out, guys, it's very easy to not watch these committee meetings. Understanding that laws are made and created and passed in Sacramento, it's very easy to essentially just see whether or not they have been passed. Sometimes, I gotta say though, it does get a little bit disturbing when you actually look what's going on inside these buildings. So for a brief moment, let's just go ahead and go on in. We do have a video from the committee meeting itself. Jacob, if you could pull up the first one. This is Sam Paredes from Gun Owners of California and Gun Owners of America issuing the first warning of this committee meeting. Jacob, go ahead and roll it.
It is very clear in the NguyenVBonta decision, which happened just 2 days ago, that the court, in a 3-judge panel decision, the Ninth Circuit, one that doesn't vote for the Second Amendment ever, ruled that you cannot ration. Not only is the 1 gun a month standard unconstitutional, but that any standard is unconstitutional. You cannot ration the exercising of a constitutional enumerated right. That is a very important point, and that leads me to the fact that we are very confident that that is so unconstitutional that it will be going to court. And unfortunately, the state of California will share the burden of paying our attorney's fees when we win this case. I also want to point out very briefly that the author in the Assembly Public Safety Committee was very poignant to me personally, but I think to us, that he didn't care about what we were saying about the facts, about the statistics, and the number of times that lawful citizens use guns to defend themselves in the state of California. He didn't care. Well, those are the facts, and truth doesn't lie, and they remain truth and factual regardless of the author's opinion on those things and his comment to us. So for these reasons, we think this bill is unconstitutional. We will fight to the end to have it never see the light of day, and we will win. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't really see anything wrong with that. It's basically a statement of fact, basically saying we already won on this in court. California's got the one gun a month rule, and the court ruled that you can't limit a constitutional right. But it goes even further than that. Just a couple moments later, Jacob, if you could pull up the second one, let's go ahead and play this one from Senator Seyarto.
Okay. We have a motion to move the bill. I'm going to just make one comment. When SB 2 was originally drafted and came through this committee, I practically bet the chair at the time that it would be found unconstitutional, and lo and behold, that's what happened, and it's happening over and over. And no matter where you really stand on the issue of whether you think this is good or not for gun policy, we keep getting beat up in court. And when we get beat up in court, that means our taxpayer dollars are being used to do something that we know is unconstitutional. We're just going to go to court and it's going to be proved unconstitutional, and we're going to put the bill. And so that's the kind of issue I have with bills of this ilk is we already know what the outcome is. So with that, I'll let you close.
So I guess there's warning number 2, and Rick, maybe you can go into this too. I don't know what it's like for Senator Seyarto to be in a committee where he is the one Republican with, 5 or 6 other members that are all Democrats. So that's got to be a challenge in that of itself. But that seems very logical too, going ahead and saying like, look, we've already gone through this. Senate Bill 2, when it was being passed, we all knew that it was an unconstitutional law. We knew it was going to get struck down in court. We knew that we were going to have to foot the bill for the attorney's fees, and it was passed anyways. Are we going to learn from our actions here, or are we just going to continue and do this? And honestly, when I look at that on its face, that's thievery, man. That is our tax money that Sacramento is taking that they know they're going to have to waste in court while creating an unconstitutional law. I guess, is this the general process that you see up there in Sacramento for these committee meetings? And are we going to continue to see this for this bill?
Well, I want to first thank you for highlighting this. And we're taking small clips because we don't want to traumatize everybody that's going to watch this video. But you would have also seen taxpayer money being funneled through USAID, among others, to our opposition groups like Moms That Demand Action, Giffords, etc., paying for people that are, quote, volunteers, but they're not volunteers because they're receiving stipend money, they're receiving housing money. As you well know, Kevin, you've been up there and listened to them talk about it, so this isn't hyperbole. You're listening to Senator Seyarto, as the vice chair of that committee, saying very clearly, look, it's not just, Senate Bill 2 that went through, but it's all the derivative bills from that bill, along with a lot of other bills that this legislature has known, was warned, told over and over again, unconstitutional. And you do it anyways. And, you can go back to Senator Portantino, most overturned senator in California history. And it's mostly on firearms laws. Like everything he ever wrote on firearms has been overturned by the courts repeatedly. And so, this is what we're up against all the time. And later on in that session, you got to hear one of the other senators up on the dais. That'd be Senator Wiener, who's running for Nancy Pelosi's spot. So in my book, if you said it couldn't get worse, it's about to get worse if he wins. And he flat out is saying things like, I don't care what the Supreme Court of the United States says. They're wrong. I'm right. And that's the arrogance that we face in Sacramento, Kevin.
Yeah, it could be much worse indeed, which I guess does sort of transition this conversation into the election cycle. You know, we've talked about this time and time again. At the end of the day, the accountability can be on us where we put our votes. Is that the only accountability measure that we have here? So long as these people, I mean, is this the case? So long as these people are in these offices, they are going to continue and knowingly waste taxpayer money like this?
Yeah, they are. And I think one of them is the talking point. We have to realize saying this isn't fair, you're beating up the Second Amendment, wearing our Second Amendment t-shirts, all that's great. I have them too. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I have noticed over the past couple of years, Kevin, you and I have talked about this. I am now going to a lot of people that I cross over, whether it be at the, Home Depot or Lowe's or the grocery store or the park or wherever. And when the opportunity is there, engage them and saying, look, I don't care if you love guns or don't love guns. It's not just about guns, because this is happening across the board. This is a legislature that does not listen to the judicial branch, and they're costing you money. You're paying them to do stupid stuff, and then you're paying them again to defend stupid stuff, and then you're most likely paying another entity like CRPA in the case of this case to fight for your rights. So literally you're having them take money out of your pockets in the most heavily taxed state in the nation. Yeah, it's thievery. It's flat out thievery, and it's on multiple things. And so this is where I'm like, it's time to start firing these people. It's time to start telling people like, we got the crazy employee, and I liken it to a small business. A lot of times a small business, you get the crazy employee and nobody wants to say anything because it's a small business. I get it. But eventually you either say something or the business is destroyed and so is your family. So now's the time to remind these people they work for us, and it's the time to fire them.
Well, if theft isn't reason enough, perhaps dishonesty is, because that seems to be happening a whole lot as well. Jacob, why don't you go ahead and pull up the last clip? This clip is of Assemblymember Berman, who is the author of the bill, and this is his refutation of Sam Paredes' comments in the NguyenVBonta lawsuit. Go ahead and roll that one.
But the Ninth Circuit clearly held that there is a Second Amendment right to bear multiple arms, but the court did not go as far as to say that the state cannot in any way limit the number of guns a person may own. And so it is the opinion of me as the author, it's the opinion of the Attorney General as the sponsor, that 3 guns in 30 days will meet that test. We'll find out. We'll find out if the bill passes out of this committee and passes off the Senate floor and is signed into law by the governor. But I respectfully ask for an aye vote on what I think is a smart bill that meets the new requirements laid out by the Supreme Court. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Rick, so you're going to have to, you're going to have to enlighten me in some way here. Is this just a blatant lie, or is this or is this somebody who isn't doing their job? Because all that you have to do is sit down and read the opinion in NguyenVBonta, and it very clearly states that limiting firearms purchases, limiting a constitutional right, is unconstitutional. There's really no way around that. So you can't really have both of these statements in the same box of truth. Obviously, this one is the lie, but or at least untruth. So which is it? Is this just a blatant lie?
It's a straight out lie. They know they're lying, but this is the attitude. They will get money from these groups that came from your tax dollars, like USAID and others, and they're going to get money to stay in office, and that's all they care about. They don't care who they work. The whole refutation on our laws are working. That's why we're no, and no. There is not a unified system to track anything. The stuff that they're making out, it's like, why don't they go after things that kill more Californians than guns? Because there's no money in it, Kevin. Nobody's going to pay the money to go after the medical system and other systems that do far more damage than firearms do. And I'm not saying the damage by firearms is acceptable. It's not. But they don't even go after the criminals they know, because they're carrying on their votes as well. This is just lying for the sake of lying. And they have the same attitude that Portantino that I brought up earlier did. I'll never forget Portantino after one of the most egregious laws, SB2 said, and if I'm wrong again, so admitting they'd been wrong before, it doesn't really matter because I won't be in office and there's nothing you can do. And that's what they're banking on, that because a lot of these things, after we adjudicate them and get the judgment, They're already out of office. It will never harm them, but it will harm us.
Well, perhaps we need to do a little work in the culture when we see movies like the Oceans series or the Italian Job getting a lot of attention, where we prop up people who steal and lie, because it seems like they're winning out here. Of course, I've already told you the makeup of this committee. The bill did end up passing through the committee, but it's not over yet. We still have time to advocate against it. We still have opportunities to get it struck down. So, Rick, I guess just to close this out, what are your final thoughts of what happened in this committee? What are your final thoughts of this bill passing through this committee, and what's it look like moving forward?
So it's business as usual would be my answer to the first question. As far as where it goes, there's a chance that we can block it in appropriations due to the lack of money and the state budget falling apart, even as we're filming this. So there is that opportunity there. And if it doesn't happen there, then this is going to go to the governor's desk. Very slim chance he wouldn't sign it. He'll probably sign it because he's looking where he can get money from. He's been this week campaigning for president in South Carolina. He's already started his presidential campaign for 2028. So I think right now what we're going to be looking at is if it gets to his desk, he'll sign in the law, and then we're going to have to litigate it, and we'll win because we already know what the Ninth Circuit has said on this. So this is going to be a loss of a lot of California money to win something that should have never happened in the first place.
But there are still opportunities to stop it, although those opportunities will run dry pretty quick. So we've got to make the most of them so that we don't have to spend money and time striking down what we know is already an unconstitutional law. Guys, if you haven't already received an email to advocate against this bill, that means you're not subscribed to the CRPA emails. Go ahead and go to crpa.org. Jacob, maybe you put that in the description below, and subscribe to the emails so that you can advocate against this bill as it continues to move forward. Rick, I know you're a busy guy. I want to thank you for coming on and being here with us today. Thanks for the knowledge.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And guys, one more time, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the videos. It's a great way for you to directly contribute to Second Amendment litigative and legislative efforts here in the state of California. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you on the next one.